Hello, my name is Ann Kent. I'm a registered dietitian nutritionist and the owner of Peas and Happiness. I'm excited to share with you today something a little bit different. As you notice, we're not in the kitchen, and that's because recently you may have seen my announcement that I'm pregnant, and the first trimester was rough. So we were not eating at home nearly as often, and we were eating out so much more frequently, not only because I wasn't feeling good enough to cook, but also because summertime is just crazy. So we were running to baseball games 3 times a week, and we were hardly ever home. And so meal planning was just really sporadic. And I know that that's the same for a lot of you. So I wanted to share with you some of the strategies that I used and that our family used so that we could still eat somewhat healthy, even though we were going out to eat a lot more often than normal. So I'm going to actually walk you through several different popular restaurant chains. We're going to go through their menu, and I'm going to show you what to look for on a menu and how to find some things that you might not have known existed. You do have to look a little bit harder for healthier options, but most of the time they do exist. So we'll do that in a minute, but I want to first just talk a little bit more broadly about how we're doing this. So first of all, companies are now required to include nutrition information on their website or in their literature. So you can pretty easily find calorie amounts, but I want to reinforce the fact that calories do not tell the whole picture of nutrition. So we're going to think a little bit more holistically as we go through these menu items and think about the quality of the meal rather than just the calorie amount. And so when we build a meal, really what we want to include in terms of what our body needs for nourishment are protein, carbohydrate, and then vegetables. Sometimes it's hard to get vegetables, and so fruit is another good option that has a lot of the same nutrition as vegetables. So we're going to be using that framework. And then when it comes to portion sizes or how much you should eat, the best way to know how much you should eat is to listen to your body. And if you've heard me talk before, you know a little bit about this intuitive eating model, which is it combines a balancing what your body needs nutritionally and noticing how different foods make you feel, but it also helps you to tune into your hunger cues and to know really how much you should be eating, because that's going to be better than any calorie amount that anyone could ever give you. So those are the two things that we're really going to focus on. We're going to focus on quality and then also your hunger cues to know how much you should be eating when you go out to eat, because it can be a lot different when you go out to eat. A lot of the foods are much more calorie dense than you're used to at home. So we'll have to pay a little bit more attention. The second thing that I want to point out is that this is a pretty specific instance that I'm talking about going out to eat. If going out to eat is your fun time once or twice a week, then you can disregard everything that we're talking about and just choose what you want to eat. So I'm really focusing on the nutritious foods in these instances. If this is a staple of your eating pattern, if you are going out to eat, 5, 6, 7 times a week daily, then it becomes a lot more important to really pay attention to what's going into your body. But if this is just for fun, and it's date night, then I don't want you to worry about if you are choosing the healthiest thing on the menu. The point of that meal is just to have fun. The third thing I want to remind everybody is that this is likely just a season that you are in, this busy time where you can't cook at home, where you have to go out to eat more than often. This should not last your entire life. If it does last your entire life, if you are constantly meeting yourself coming and going and you never ever get a break, it may be worth it to reevaluate where you're spending your time. Are there things that you might be able to unschedule? Do you need to be scheduled for all of these events? Do your kids need to be in all of these activities? I think sometimes we get caught up in worrying about missing out on something, and so we overschedule ourselves so much that we miss out on kind of the here and now and the present. So if that's you, then maybe reevaluating would be helpful. But for most of us, it's normal to have busy seasons, and it's normal to have a little bit less busy season. So if you're in a season, it's okay if your eating pattern is not perfect. You're going to get back to normal. You're going to get back home. You're going to get back in the kitchen. And so just take this for what it is and, do the best you can, but don't stress out about it. So if you have any questions about any of those broad concepts, then please feel free to drop a comment, and I'm happy to have a further conversation. But I want to go ahead and share my screen, and we're going to dive into, first of all, we're going to dive into some fast food options. So we're going to break this down into 3 categories. Number 1 is fast food. Number 2 are fast casual restaurants. So fast food is like McDonald's, Wendy's, Taco Bell, the really fast grab and go things. Fast casual is more like your Qdoba, Chipotle, Panera, Noodles and Company, those sort of not sit down restaurants, but a little bit faster. And then the third category are those sit down restaurants. The chain restaurants specifically are what we'll be looking at. So again, if you have any specific restaurants that you love to go to or that are in your area and you want some more direct feedback, drop a comment and I'll give you a few suggestions of how to look at that menu. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and you are going to see the Wendys menu. So this is what comes up when you type in Wendys and you search for them. So my first note with most fast food and honestly any restaurant is that if you're looking to increase the vegetables, it's usually pretty easy to find a salad on the menu. The problem with always having salad when you go out is that you're going to get tired of salad. So my goal when I look at these menus is to find a vegetable that is not a salad, that's just a little bit different so that we can include some variety. But again, we're thinking about that protein and carbohydrate and veggie model when we think about this. So if we look down at their different categories of food, you can see that it's pretty easy to include a protein and a carbohydrate. Most of these are built around a meat as the protein and then have some sort of carbohydrate as the bread. You can always find fries on the menu. That's never an issue. So really what we're missing when we look for something on a menu is we're missing that vegetable. So that's really what I want to focus with. You can honestly pick about anything on the menu. And again, thinking about how much you need to eat based on your fullness level. But we need to make sure that we're including some sort of veggie. So of course, here we have salads and I was pretty pleased with the Wendy's options. They have a lot of really fun salads. So these are not just your bland house salad. They might be able to offer some more variety. So if that sounds good, then awesome. If a salad does not sound good, I wanted to go into these sides and dig a little bit deeper. Now, Wendy's is known for their baked potato and chili, which is a pretty good option because chili includes, if we look at the ingredients here in the chili, you can see that they include tomatoes, tomato paste, they have beans, they have lots of spices. So there's a long list, of course, with this, but they actually do have some other vegetables in there besides just the salad. So that's a pretty good option. And they're going to have a little bit more fiber because of that. So you could do something like putting chili on a baked potato and have a pretty flavorful meal that's a lot of plants, which is kind of unusual. So if you're sick of the salad, this would be another really good option. So let's move on to my second restaurant is Dunkin' Donuts. And I chose this because I wanted to have a breakfast option if you're even finding yourself coming and going in breakfast. So we're going to skip the drinks because this is a whole another conversation. But if you have specific questions, please drop a comment. But I wanted to focus here on the sandwich options. So again, if you're just going out for fun, then pick your donut. But if you're going out to breakfast every single day, they actually do have some options that are somewhat nutritious. So of course we have our traditional croissant with the sausage. This is the croissant or the bagel are probably going to be the heaviest in carbohydrates, the highest in calories. So you might find that you get through half of that sandwich and then you're full. If you're having trouble with that and feeling like you're wasting food, that's probably because your body doesn't need that many calories. And so something that's a little bit lighter that has the same kind of protein and good nutrition would be this veggie egg white omelet or this power breakfast sandwich. So this has turkey sausage instead of the traditional pork. And it also has the egg white omelet, and it even has some vegetables in there. Now, it's not perfect. It doesn't have as many vegetables as we perhaps need. But the other thing that I like to do with some of these options is to remember that you can bring something from home if you would like. So, something like a piece of fruit would be really easy to maybe throw in your bag. If you are just running around all day, you can at least have some sort of quality plant-based food with your protein and carb that you have here. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to Panera. So this is our fast casual, and I have their menu pulled up here. You can see that there's lots of different categories. So again, Panera is going to be known for their soups and salads. Yes, a salad is great, and there's lots of really good options that are really delicious. The soups range from anything from very, very creamy, mostly like cream based and very little vegetables, all the way to some really heavy vegetable options. So those are fantastic. But what I found here on their menu when I was searching were these warm bowls. So this is another example of just looking a little bit deeper beyond just the salad to see if there's something that's going to have some quality. And as you look at these, I'm going to zoom out just a little bit so you can see this. There's a bunch of different really fun options. So if you're craving Asian food, there's a teriyaki option. If you're craving Mexican, there's a Baja bowl. If you're craving Mediterranean and the feta cheese and the olives, there's a couple of different bowls there. So these, you can see the calories are really modest, and this is about the calorie amount that most people need. So you're going to find that you probably will get full on a bowl like this. But again, listen to your own body rather than worry about the calorie amounts. The thing that I like about this is that there's a lot of really good nutritious food in this option. So you can see that it comes with brown rice, it has quinoa, it has arugula, which is a type of lettuce, grape tomatoes, olives, which are going to be a really healthy fat, cucumbers, hummus, another source of protein and also healthy fat, and then feta cheese and Greek yogurt. So this includes a lot of quality food in it. And it is a lot easier to find nutritious food when you go to those fast casual or the actual restaurants. Fast food is definitely going to be the most challenging place to find anything nutritious. Let's go next to Chipotle. I wanted to show you this because they have a really fun nutrition builder. So I can actually show you what happens when you add different ingredients to your bowl or salad or whatever it is. So a lot of times I like to start with a salad, but again, if you're sick of salads, Chipotle has this bowl option, which is really great. I usually like to choose the bowl just because then I can control how many carbohydrates I'm eating, and I can a little bit better control just if I'm full, I'm not going to be wasting all my time on this tortilla, which isn't going to fill me up for very long. So a bowl or a salad base is a really good option. The difference here is that the salad base starts with a bed of lettuce and the burrito bowl starts with just the meat, the beans, and the rice. Qdoba is really similar to this. So if you don't have a Chipotle in your area or prefer Qdoba, this is a very similar option. So you get to choose your meat. I recommend to choose what you like. You can see that the calorie differences are not that great. The sofritas is a plant-based option. So I like to choose that just because it's really flavorful and it's kind of fun. It's actually tofu, but they add tons of spices to it. And so it's a fun plant-based protein if you're looking to include more of that. Also, this is a little known fact at the restaurant, but you can choose the vegetarian option, which doesn't have a protein on it, but it includes guacamole, whereas usually it's an upcharge for the guacamole at Chipotle. Okay, next are the rice and beans. So Chipotle is doing all of these new healthy things, and they actually have cauliflower rice. I've never tried their cauliflower rice. So if you have, definitely let me know in the comments if you like that. They're going to spice it up, so hopefully it is tasty. But I usually like to include just the brown rice because that's going to be a really nutritious option. It's delicious. So I don't ever miss white rice in there. And then I'm going to choose black beans as well. And I like to include these things because I find that a bowl actually lasts me 2 meals. You can see on the right-hand side here that it's counting the calories. And you'll find this if you are going out to eat and noticing the calories, you'll learn how many calories tend to fill you up. Obviously, it's going to change if you're more active, if you're running around, the heat can make a difference. All kinds of different things will make a difference, but you'll start to find that out. So the other great thing about Chipotle, which is also the same at places like Subway, are that you can choose all kinds of different awesome veggies to go on your bowl. So I can choose fajita vegetables. I can choose fresh tomato salsa, which is not very spicy, but adds a lot of veggies. I usually skip the guacamole because of the upcharge, but it's a really healthy fat if you would like to add it. If you want to add some corn, it's a little bit more carbs, but it's, again, another plant. So that's going to be really good for your body. If you'd like to add, I like to add all the good stuff. So I add the queso and the cheese because this is going to really fill me up and keep me full. So you can see my calories are almost 1,000 calories. And this is why one of these bowls actually lasts me 2 meals, because there's enough fat, enough really good nutrition in there that it is very, very filling. So if you only want to have one meal, maybe you decide to ask them to go light on some of these toppings if you want those flavors. If you don't want the flavors, great. For my bowl, I always add lettuce on top, and sometimes I'll add an extra salsa too if I'm feeling crazy. So feel free to play around with that. That's kind of a fun way to see just what are your priorities in your meal. If you love the tortillas, then maybe tacos or a burrito are for you. So just play around with that. But again, the important thing is to listen to your body. So let's move on to restaurants. I chose Applebee's because there's an Applebee's in almost every city everywhere, and their menu is also really similar to lots of other chain restaurants. So you can see this is similar with the fast food when we talk about usually having a good protein and carbohydrate already included in the meal. And so the important thing is really to think about the vegetable. Are you getting a vegetable in this? Also note that a lot of these, it's a little bit hard to see, but a lot of these meals are about 1,000 calories. So you will probably find that a meal is going to last you actually 2 meals. So thinking about sharing this with someone or just planning to take it home would be really good options. And bonus, you get another meal the next day. So don't shy away from some of these bigger meals. Just be aware that you really need to tune into your body, listen to your hunger cues so that you don't feel overly stuffed when you're done. So of course, a lot of these, really, we're going to talk about the sides here. So most of these come with a carbohydrate and a vegetable. So if we look at this, yeah, so the sirloin here, for example, it's going to come with the meat as the protein, and then carbohydrate are the potatoes, and then the veggie or the broccoli, which is awesome. If you are not super hungry and you are going to eat everything, another thing you can do is customize this. So I'm going to scroll down to the sides because that's what's really important, or that's where you can make a really, really big difference with the nutritional quality of your meal. So if you look at this, the mashed potatoes are going to be very heavy, but you can easily substitute this for, they have broccoli here, but they also have these green beans. So again, thinking about these more chain restaurants, looking at their sides, they usually have something more exciting than salad. So don't burn yourself out on salad if you're going to these restaurants. See if you can find another vegetable to spice up what you're eating. Sometimes they have seasonal vegetables that rotate through based on what's available in the area. So that's also a fun way to go about that. But you'll find that even in some of the pasta dishes, for example, some of these have very few vegetables here. Some of them have a little bit more. So again, I would recommend to go with what sounds good, go with what feels good, because I don't want you to feel deprived, but also just think about how much you need and then what are the other sides that you could have. So the final recipe I have here, or the final restaurant I have here is Buffalo Wild Wings. And I chose this because it's a little bit notorious for being somewhat unhealthy for you. But I also wanted to just point out that even at a place like this, there are still some options. So again, protein and carbs, easy to do. They do have salads, and I will tell you, a good salad with wings on top is delicious. So if you haven't tried it, you might be surprised at how much you like salad when it's topped with really yummy things. But if salad's not your thing, they also have some sides. So for Buffalo Wild Wings, they have coleslaw, similar to salad, but a little bit different. And then they just have regular veggie sticks. I have also seen on some new menus the peppers that they roast, and so the shishito peppers. And so there's sometimes some extra veggies on local menus that are kind of fun. So you just have to look for these and dig a little bit deeper. But a lot of times there are options if you're really looking. So There's not a one size fits all, magic wand that I can wave, and it really depends on your taste and what you prefer. But I just encourage you to dig a little bit into your restaurants, and also if you live in a place where there are a lot of different eating options, then consider some of the local options, or just look around for some of the healthier options. For example, we have a Mad Greens, which is literally a salad place. They also do some bowls, so there's a lot of different options, but they have a lot of really fresh ingredients. Some of the noodle places also have been switching to things like zoodles. So there's a lot of things on menus now that maybe weren't there before. But even when you go to those fast food restaurants, if you look carefully, you can usually find something that's great. If you can't, don't be afraid to pack your own fruits and veggies, or take things home and then serve them with something that's fresh, just so that you have a little bit more nutritious option. So again, if you have any questions, if you have any thoughts, if you have any restaurants that you have questions about, drop a comment and I will get back with you. So thank you for joining me. I hope you have a great week, and we will talk to you next week. Take care, everybody.